preseason coverage. Hello from SportsCenter, hello from New York, and hello, Michael Eaves.
What up, KO? And yeah, if this latest iteration of the NBA Finals didn't provide enough drama for you, sit tight for the next 4 weeks because we've got some things popping off. Perhaps no other NBA Finals shook up the league going into the summer quite like this year's. As a result, we've got questions. First up, will bringing the Raptors their first title be enough to entice Kawhi to stay in the six? He can sign a bigger max deal with the Raptors, but is a homecoming courtesy of maybe the Clippers more appealing? The Nets, by the way, they have money to spend as well. Now, if the thought of Toronto losing its best player wasn't enough, how about the prez of basketball operations, too? Per league sources, the Wizards preparing to offer Masai Ujiri a deal that could approach $10 million a year. And then the Warriors, two key pieces, KD and Clay, suffering significant injuries with free agency looming. Does Durant's injury shake up a potential partnership with Kyrie? He has until June 29th to pick up his player option. As for Clay, he's not eligible for the Supermax, but he can sign for an extra year and more money if he stays in Golden State. Plus, how would his torn ACL play into that decision? As far as keeping this duo in the Bay, Bob Myers, what say you?
We value those guys at the highest level. I mean, wouldn't be a very good, whatever I am, GM if I didn't understand how valuable they are to our own team. They're both fantastic. So those are guys that you do everything you can to keep within your organization.
It's hard to even picture, what next year's team will look like at this point, and we'll see how it all shakes out. And we're hoping to have both those guys back. And if that's the case, it'd be great, but neither one would be available for quite a while to play. So our team's going to look a lot different next year.
All right, NBA insider Adrian Wojnarowski joins us now. And going into this summer, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, two of the most high sought-after free agents. But now they have these injuries. What impact do these injuries have, Woj, on the Warriors' chances of keeping both of them?
Well, certainly their intent, is both Bob Myers, Steve Kerr said, is to re-sign them. Joe Lacob, they're committed financially. They're going to have to go really historically deep into luxury tax to re-sign both, but they want to. Klay Thompson all along with him, it's been, if he gets the full 5-year max contract, very likely he's going to just stay. He won't take meetings on June 30th. Kevin Durant, there's more of a recruitment that's going to go on here, or certainly more of a conversation. He has considered the possibility of going back east, the Knicks, the Brooklyn Nets, but he can do a 5-year, over $200 million deal to stay with the Warriors, and the Warriors are ready to pay that, even though it means next year, he'll be essentially a $40 million redshirt player.
Right, exactly. Going into the new arena, though, in San Francisco, maybe they're still looking for the future. But let me ask you this, though. What's the likelihood that other teams around the league will still offer max contracts to these two dudes, even with those injuries?
Absolutely. The teams who are all going to recruit Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, they're going out recruiting, offering the full scholarship.
Injuries don't matter to them.
No, listen. Now, you sign him in New York or Brooklyn, that's a 4-year deal with Kevin Durant. You hope you're going to get 3 really good, healthy years with him. They're all willing to do it. They are all still on board in their pursuit of Durant. Same with Klay Thompson.
All right, well, sit tight because we want to get some insight from you on an incident that happened last night after the game there in the Bay Area. For more on that, we'll send it out to Keith.
All right, Michael, so then there is the Masai Ujiri story. No, not that story, the other one. The Raptors say they are cooperating with the Alameda County Sheriff's Office about whatever did or did not happen between the team's president of basketball ops and an officer who tried to stop him from getting on the court after his team won the title last night, and there was contact between the two men. Sheriff's Office spokesman Sergeant Ray Kelly issued a statement on what his department claims happened. Quote, Mr. Ujiri was unknown to the deputy at the time. He, the deputy, asked him for a credential. He shoved the deputy out of the way and walked toward the court. The deputy pushed back. The president came forward more with a more significant push and ended up striking the deputy in face, unquote. Is that what happened? This jumpy video shot by NBC Bay Area News shows contact but not context. We don't have discernible audio. We don't have what happened before. We do know the Alameda County Sheriff's Office is investigating on suspicion of misdemeanor battery on a police officer. Moments later, all seemed sweetness and light as Kyle Lowry spotted his boss, who traded his best friend, and brought him onto the court, and there was a happy embrace. Our Brian Windhorst tried to figure out what actually happened.
Well, Masai was off the court. He was outside the Raptors locker room watching the end of the game. He was watching on TV. And once the game ended, naturally, he came down the tunnel. I did not witness the incident, but I talked to some people who were there. And you also have to have different credentials to get in there.
Yeah.
So it may have just been a misunderstanding that boiled over. Obviously, Masai was incredible. I have to imagine. I don't know for sure.
So emotional.
But I have to assume was very emotional. Hopefully, this is just a misunderstanding that will get cleared up. But it is unfortunate.
Back with Woj, the NBA does what now?
Well, the NBA is talking with Masai Ujiri. They're talking with the team, and they're talking with the authorities in the Bay Area, trying to get the complete story here. And, certainly, and I think Brian said it there, Rachel, like Masai Ujiri has had a very unique story to reach this point in the league, a championship moment. And certainly there was a lot of emotion there, and clearly it spilled over with he and the officer at hand.
And if that were not enough, the other Ujiri story, the championship celebration and the offseason lasted 3 minutes, thanks to somebody who broke the story that the Wizards are willing to break the bank if he'll leave Toronto to run their ship. Is there any news on that? And is there any impact on that from the brouhaha with the sheriff?
No, I don't think there's any impact from that. The impact from last night is that he led the Raptors to a championship. That's why Washington is interested. That's why this job, their job search process has been stalled for weeks, waiting for Toronto's season to end to make a run at Masai Ujiri. And they were turned down once already by Tim Connolly, the president of basketball operations in Denver. And I know that Washington does not want to be turned down again. I think they're trying to get a sense of the chance they would have to lure Ujiri there. But he is a executive that will be in great demand all around the league for years to come. He's turned down some pretty good jobs in the past. He's got a really good one in Toronto.
All right, Woj, I think that's it, unless you're breaking a third Ujiri story before you go. No rest for the Woj. Many thanks.
See you, Keith.
As we said, hope you enjoyed the offseason. Michael Wilbon joins us. Does the association have to change its rules so we don't get what we got last night with a hobbled Klay Thompson, maybe risking further injury just in case he wasn't already too hurt to return? Coming up. Meanwhile, the David Ortiz story has gotten crazier. While all indications continue to trend positive for his recovery, prosecutors in New Jersey today issued a press release in which they indicated that a suspect in the Ortiz shooting is also wanted on armed robbery and gun charges in Passaic County in New Jersey. They say they have a bench warrant out for Rolfie Ferreira Cruz in the Dominican. The alleged gunman was identified as Rolfie Ferreira. This caveat, the names of the suspect, or maybe suspects, are spelled differently. Meanwhile, the surgeon who initially treated Big Papi has spoken, and our Pedro Gomez has that part of the story.